Hi everyone, it's Miss Lisa from the St. Paris Public Library. Today is Thursday and this is our STEM activity today. I'm trying to position the camera so you can see what I'm doing here. We're going to make these fidget spinners. They are made out of cardboard and they look like this, and you put your fingers in the middle and you can spin them around like that and they spin. We don't have to have any ball bearings in the center like you do find in regular fidget spinners. So we're going to make these today. All right, here's what we need. You need a piece of cardboard. You don't need a very big piece, so you can use the piece like this or out of a box. You can use a cereal box. You just don't need a very big piece of cardboard. All right, so just a piece of cardboard. You can either use toothpicks, which is what I used. If you have a dowel rod, or a skewer, you can use a wooden skewer, but I just used a toothpick. You need some glue. You need some tape. You can either use masking tape or duct tape like I used. You need a pencil, a pair of scissors, and a nail. The nail is just to poke holes in the center of the cardboard. It was a little bit harder to do and my scissors weren't pointy enough, so I just used a nail. And then you need 2 pennies. They don't have to be shiny, just any kind of pennies, all right? So you're gonna start with your cardboard. So you're gonna need a strip of card. We're gonna need 2 strips because you cut them, you put them together. So you can cut all this stuff off if you wanna make it nice and neat. And just cut yourself 2 pieces of cardboard about that big. You're going to cut one and then you're going to use that as your template and you're going to trace it with the other one. So you need 2 pieces of cardboard that are pretty similar in size because you're going to use them. So you kind of want to take your thumb, however big your thumb is, because you don't want your fidget spinner to be longer than your thumb, otherwise it won't go between your fingers like that when you're holding it. So you go with your thumb, I put it on the edge of the table, and then put your thumb on it. Kind of make a little mark, so you make sure that you don't make it too much bigger than that, okay? Because you have to remember that halfway to this fidget spinner, see, it's longer than my thumb, but halfway is right here underneath of my thumb, so when I hold it, it's not going to hit the back side of my thumb. Does that make sense? So you don't want the center piece to be too much longer than your thumb. So with that center marked, I'm going to come down just a little bit. So I mark the center right here, and then I'm going to come back just a little bit, and that's going to be the center of my 8. I'm going to make the number 8, and I'm going to make it long enough so that it's equal on the same side. So that's going to be the center, so I'm going to make it like this. Okay, it doesn't have to be exact, just however. So I did it like that. Can you see that? I made like the number 8. Now, I'm not cutting it really tight in the center. I'm just barely just like weaving it in. So if you look at it, it's kind of cut like a peanut, but it sort of looks like the number 8. So I'm going to cut this end off first. Then I'm going to cut it out, and I'm just going to kind of go in just a little bit where that center is. But I'm going to make sure I don't make it much longer than what I made it on the thing. Okay, like that. So there is the 8, if you can see it, and I did not go all the way into the center part. I just kind of made it the shape of like a peanut. All right, so now I'm going to use this as my template to cut the second one. So because I'm going to glue these 2 sides together, I'm going to make sure that I do it the right way so that my peanuts line up. So I'm going to trace around it. And I'm going to cut it out and try to be accurate because you want them to be as close in size as possible, so you don't have to cut a bunch off. If they're not exact, it's okay. You can fix it. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to figure out which way they go together the best so that they are the closest in size. Obviously, one is bigger than the other because I am unable to do it that way. So I'm going to put the glue on my number 8 one. All right. And this is tacky glue, so it dries a little bit faster. If you use Elmer's glue, it's fine, but it might take a little bit longer to dry. So Put just enough on there so it sticks. I don't want it like really, really wet because I don't want it to take forever to dry. So I'm gonna push them together. I'm gonna wiggle it around a little bit so the glue sticks like that. Okay, and I'm gonna trim it so they're the same size because like I said, I never can get it the same size. There. Okay, I'm push it together a little bit more. All right, so now I'm gonna set this aside and let this dry while I'm working on the other part. So now what we're gonna do are these two little round things in the middle. So you're gonna take your scrap cardboard, and you're gonna take a penny, and you're gonna trace around the penny with your pencil, and you need two of these. I have enough room on this cardboard, so I'm gonna put them both on this one. Then you need to cut them out. And these you wanna cut out pretty close to the circle. Try not to chop your circle off too much. They are not going to get glued together. There's one for each side, so if they're not exactly the same, it's okay, which is good for me because I never can make them the same. So we'll cut it out. These are the little buttons you're going to put your fingers on. All right, so now you're going to take your nail, okay? I have a table here, so I'm going to put a piece of cardboard underneath so that I don't poke a hole in my table. And in the center of my circle, I'm going to put a little dot so I know where the center is. And then very carefully, I'm going to push my nail through. Don't poke yourself with the nail. Now, if you look at it, when you push the nail through, the side that you go through the first time, it's a smooth push. On the back side, it's got like where the cardboard pushed out. That's important, okay? So then you're going to want to do this one. So make sure when you're doing your push through that you push it through the plain cardboard side, not the printed side, okay? Because you want that extra cardboard to be on the inside because it will help later. So I'm going to push the nail through. Okay, there we go. All right, so you should have two circles with the holes in the center, all right? So then you're going to put a hole through the center of your 8. Your glue should be dry enough that it shouldn't slip around too much. This one was a little bit harder because it's double thick. If you want to, I guess you could try to poke holes in it before you glue it together. But if you're like me, you'd never be able to get them matched up. So there, poked my hole through the 8. All right, so now I'm gonna take a toothpick, and I'm gonna use this one that I used on the other one, but it's only half of one, but I'll use the pointy side so you can see how it works. Okay, so on the first one, I'm going to push it through the bottom like that so that the tip of it goes through the top. Then I'm going to snap it off like this and bend it over like that. You see how it's bent, how the toothpick got bent over? Okay, and we're going to put a piece of tape on it. So I have some duct tape right here. You don't need a very big piece, just a small piece. That will tape that little top piece on there like that. And if you want to be like super neat, you can be way neater than me. I'm not very neat. Okay, so then you're going to take your toothpick is attached to this. You could glue it, I guess, if you have the patience to sit there and wait for the glue to dry, but I don't. So then I'm going to put it through the hole. Okay, when you put it through the hole, this thing needs to spin freely. So if it feels a little bit too tight, you're going to want to wiggle your stick around in there a little bit and loosen up your spinner so that your spinner spins real easy. All right, you don't want it to catch on there. Then you're going to push it up to the top. We'll loosen it a little bit after we get done. Okay, so then you're going to take your second part, and with the part where the cardboard like pops out on this side where you pushed it through and it made the cardboard pop out, you want that towards your spinner because it'll kind of keep your stick a little bit farther away from your spinner if you can get on there. There, okay. All right, so then you push it down like that so it's taped on that side so it can't go through. Then you push it down so that it's like that. So I don't know if you can see that. There's like a little space between there, so you don't want it to be too tight. Then you take your scissors and you just cut this thing off like that. Just cut it off. And take another piece of tape and tape over top that little stick so it doesn't poke you when you put your fingers on there. Okay, so now you should have it like this. Hold on a second. And you don't want them too close together because if they're too close, they won't spin. So it should spin a little bit. Okay, it's not going to spin a whole lot because there's no weight on it, but it should move, okay? So the last thing you're going to do is you're going to glue your pennies to the ends. Now you don't need a whole bunch of glue or you're going to have to wait forever for it to dry. So just put a little bit of glue, and you can actually put on a penny if you want to. Now remember, your penny's not flat, so it needs to fill in the little holes so that it will stick on there. There we go. And this one. Put enough glue on there so it'll stick to the cardboard. And there. Now you need to let your pennies dry, but I'll see if I can try to get it to work before my pennies dry, and hopefully they won't fly off. Okay, once your pennies are on there, then it adds weight to it. And you'll notice a big difference in how you can feel it vibrating when you spin it because it's got that extra weight on there. Now, if you want, you can take markers or colored pencils or something and decorate your cardboard to make it like really cool. You could actually put some colored duct tape or put some masking tape on your pennies and make them different colors because it does look really cool if it's colored in. I just didn't color mine because I didn't take the time to do that. So we made fidget spinners today. So I hope you have fun with that. Be sure and like the post on Facebook or YouTube when it gets uploaded to that. So I know that you want me to continue to do the STEM activities online. And if you have any comments, be sure to leave me a comment. Thanks. Bye.